Ah, yeah, at moments I find it really hard to continue with writings, and even though it's one of the ways to that normally helps supports me voice, but yeah, the hunger strike. Maybe my soul is also in hunger strike, holding words. I will read the last thing that I wrote. يا مصدر الروح، يا أفق النور، جعلنا جوعنا نداء وصمتنا بحور. 70 يوما وما زلنا قيام، بطوننا خالية وقلوبنا إقدام. غزة فينا تبكي وتثور، دمعة طفل، صرخة أم، قلب أب مكسور. حولنا الجوع نارا وبيان، أقوى من دبابة من صمت الزمان. أرواح الشهداء، اجعلوا عطشنا نداء، واجعلوا ضعفنا صلاة تملأ الفضاء. كل نبضة تقول ما خنا ما بعنا ما انهزمنا، بل قاومنا صمدنا وما استسلمنا. هذا الجوع ميلاد حياة، حرية تنبض لا ممات. نذوي لكي تحيا غزة في ضياء، نفنى لكي يزهر فينا الرجاء. فاشهدي يا سماء، واشهدي يا أرض، أنهم صامدون أننا صامدون، رغم الجوع ورغم البعد. يا أرضنا الواحدة، يا دمنا الساري، نزرع في الجوع وعدا وفي الألم انتصار. يهودي ومسلم مسيحي في الميدان، نهتف لا للعنف لا للمحتل لا للعدوان. 70 يوما ما زال فينا قسم أن الجوع مقاومة وأن النور أعظم. لسنا وحيدين، فالأرض تشهد، كل الديانات تقول العدالة تولد. نقف صفا واحدا ضد الظلام، باللا عنف نشعل قناديل السلام. Sources of spirit, endless flame. We starve yet to whisper Gaza's name. 70 days, our body is bare, yet hearts still rise in the breathless prayers. Gaza cries through us each night, a child in rebel, a mother's fight. We turned our hunger into fire, stronger than tanks, sharper and higher. Ancestors guards us. Make thirst a song, make weakness holy, fierce and strong. Each heartbeat speaks, we did not fall. We never bargained, gave our all. This hunger is no deathly breath. It's birth, a freedom out of death. We fade so Gaza lamp still burn. We break so life may yet return. Bear witness, earth, bear witness, skies. We hunger, but we will not die. One land, one blood, one rising song. We starve to show that war is wrong. Muslims, Jews, Christians, side by side. In nonviolent truth, we will not hide. 70 days, our vow is clear. Hunger resists and light draws near. We are not alone, the earth will say. Justice is born in a united way. Together we stand against the night with nonviolence blazing. We carry their light. Thank you.
Oh, so easy. Too easy. The human ability, which is a gift, also survival, but to disconnect from what is happening That helps us survive, but it also numbs us. It isolates us. It isolates those who are not well. And it feels like it is a practice, a constant practice. Especially I see it when we're not close to the suffering, when we're not immediately there, when the bombs don't shake the ground that we stand on. To still make the effort to look, to stay present, to witness, because it's painful. It's painful. It's too painful somehow to hold sometimes alone, and we get dragged into the vortex of comfort and ignorance. And it just feels to me like an active practice to keep looking, keep paying attention to what is going on. And yeah, thank you for your words that through them we can remember. Today is day 72 that May hasn't eaten. Hasn't eaten as we made a choice 72 days ago that we will not eat anymore. Not to harm ourselves, but to put ourselves in full solidarity with those who don't have a choice if they can eat or not. And they risk their lives in the attempt to feed their kids. And it is happening still today. And as many of you know that I was hospitalized, I couldn't continue with the strike from day 55. And I've been caring for my health since then. And it just showed that with a healthy body, 55 days, and I broke with a healthy body. So what happens to bodies that are already malnourished, drained, injured, that when they break down, they won't be held by doctors and supported by community with food and care. So it just also made me even more aware that we have limitations in what we can bear, even though we also see how strong our bodies can support us. May is still going. It's a miracle. And we went on hunger strike we paused actually our work in SATYAM over the last 1.5 years. We established SATYAM actually 1.5 years ago as a response to the growing polarization and escalation. There was barely any space to even meet. There was no public space left to meet in the occupied West Bank. Palestinians, Israelis come together for the community to gather, to join activism. And actually Tarek was part of the project that we met, many of us who are holding Satyam today, which was called ICOMI. And it was a center where we tried to break down the walls, the conditionings, the fears, the racism, the colonialism, the structures that are keeping us apart. We were researching how we can bring down those walls in our own hearts and meet as humans and truly see each other again, Palestinians, Israelis, Germans, and really meet in the place where we all share so much pain. and we share shared longings, and how we can be active and support each other, work for justice together. We understood that to do that really together means doing the work together, the inner work, the relational work. And since the establishment of SATYAM, as a response to the growing polarization, we've been holding retreats, grieving circles, community days to connect the people who long to keep working together, keep meeting, even though our societies tell us to separate even more, to mistrust even more, to hate even more, to come even closer. That's been the work until June, basically. And in June, we decided that we cannot continue this work. This current crisis and what is happening in Gaza needs a global, we need to activate a global response, or we need to use our power that we have. This is when we went on hunger strike and we started daily Zooms to say, we must turn towards the international community. Everyone has responsibility to stop what is happening. And the government of Israel will not stop if it's not stopped. And we must all work together. We must raise our voices. We must pressure our governments. We must go to the streets and find our own ways to find a voice to speak for what we hold our values to be. And the values we hold in Satyam is that one life is one life. We don't separate. We stand with the justice of everyone, the dignity of everyone, and we stand for anyone who experiences injustice. And we work towards the vision of ending the occupation of the Palestinian people. But we understand that it's a global system that we are faced with. So we need to work together globally. And this is when we turn towards you, towards the international community, and said, let's work together. And this campaign has been focused on that, mobilizing. And one of the pieces has been to bring speakers from Gaza, from the West Bank, people that can show actually the reality of what's happening, because there's so much information out there, and we wanted to connect directly to people. And people also who do activism in all the different forms. So we bring people from the land, from abroad, who have actually found their voice or found their power to do something and move something that either supports directly or indirectly through direct aid or political societal change, immediate and long term, right? So yeah, if you haven't, we have all the Zoom recordings in YouTube. If you want to watch some of them, there's been very meaningful conversations. And yeah, we're super grateful to have Tarek today to introduce the Phoenix Project, what they have been working on, what I found very, very inspiring. And I want to just pass also the mic to May, who, yeah, if you want to share something about how you are, just acknowledging the state you're in, and the call that gets louder and louder, and yeah, just inviting you to share anything you want to add to what I shared.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel deeply grateful that my body is still capable of carrying on. I am still doing well. Health-wise, I was at the doctor's right after I traveled back from Germany. Uh, yeah, there are signs of anorexia, the state of anorexia within the body, the heart, but I'm still doing very well. Uh, And I actually I knew before starting it that my body will have the capacity to go through uh, a long a long fasting, because previously I had experienced it, and my body had experiences with uh, like normal also like food through life. Like I'm not somebody, so I think my body also came together. Somehow it became a blessing. It is a blessing. Uh, and to me, it's still crucial to say that it is really, really important that we continue this together, that we continue to come together, that we continue to strengthen our voice and to strengthen the movement and to strengthen, yeah, our call for justice, especially now that there are more and more people coming actually into agreement of nonviolent resistance and coming together. I see this as a power, even more power for us to lead, to speak louder, and for each one of us to really see themselves as leaders, not as yeah, part of the community, but we are leaders. We are leaders in every place we are at, and we are also honored by life, I believe, to take such a space where our consciousness is brought to spaces, to families, to synagogues, to leaders, to the way we word and voice, choose to voice ourselves. And I really, really wish to confirm again that a lot of people from high power places are really in contact with us and really wanting to be involved in the political scene in ending and believing again in nonviolent resistance and in the nonviolent dialogue between the BA and Israel. And to me, I see this as an outcome of us holding it, of us actually uprising with nonviolence and insisting on it, that they saw within us the possibilities again as governments, as politicians, to again sit on the table and again open the conversations. And yeah, this is to all of you, to everyone that stood and spoke and voiced themselves, to show those leaders that, yeah, you also can, and we will support you. We will be there and we will hold such leadership with all our power, with all our support. And to me, it's such a gift to see how we are affecting and how we are affecting the right people to to join. And yeah, I call you again and again. I continue to call you in the land and out of the land to continue joining, to continue taking the biggest part each of you could take, the absolute biggest part. I have a wish to start organizing things in the West Bank, more sittings, more solidarity spaces. And I think it's a voice to come. It's a voice that some of the leaders are strengthened by it. So it's really a time for us to uh, trust, trust and hold into the power that is given to us in this nonviolence. In our beautiful intentions, we are being met and trusted and honored for choosing this way. So I really hope you see it. I really hope you see that you carry this honor in you and the power in you. And Myra, love, I'm reading your chats, your fasting, my dear one. I really, really, really honor you deeply. Thank you so much for continuing with it, for setting a beautiful example that we, yeah, thank you to everyone that has been holding and carrying and coming. And Alexander, I cannot but say I love you, dear, and I missed you. So welcome. And I call
Hmm.
Tarek. To me, I'm really, really honored that Tarek is with us. He's one of the community members for many, many, many years. And we have done the deepest of the processes in ICUMI together with him that actually brought us to where we are today. And I'm really grateful and honored, Tarek, that you are with us, love. And looking forward to, again, connect and learn through you and listen to you and be in togetherness in this coming time with you and walking this journey. Thank you, dear. Please.
And maybe before you start, Tarek, just to, because Mira reminded me of it, that I just wanted to say and to add also that actually we will be on Thursday introducing our new campaign, which will exactly, because until now we've been calling on full hunger strike or as much as people can, like Mera joining, and so many dozens of people actually joining, and from Marsha also, so many people have been joining. And from Monday on, we will next Monday, September 1st, we will call on Mondays for Gaza, a new part of our campaign that we hope will even involve more people, that we fast for 24 hours together and meet on Zoom each Monday. And on these Zooms, we'll also speak about ways that we can be more active and introduce projects and other initiatives. So just wanting to drop that in already, that hope that on Thursday, if you want to come, we have a community Zoom to speak about that more in detail and how you can be part of it. Yeah, thank you. Tarek, dear one.
Yeah. Um, wow. I'm taking it all in. May and David and all of you who are fasting, the incredible courage that you're showing, the inspiration. I think a lot about decisions and what prompts us to do what with our lives as we learn and uncover what is going on around us. And I have in the moment a deep tenderness for each of us who is aware of such incredible suffering that's happening in this moment and caught in this complex tension of having for me, having such incredible comfort, privilege, and holding that at the same time as I'm aware of what's going on. And I really appreciate this practice here on the call of slowing down, of being with it. There's something sacred or something very intentional about how I've experienced you all creating a space to be there for the millions in Gaza right now and beyond. Yeah, and so for me, I think I'll say I'm like, yeah, maybe one decision is to be very grounded, is bring in with awareness what's going on and to sit with the incredible tension of the way the world presents itself with all its complexity and contradiction and inequality and suffering. So thanks for that. I'm going to shift over to something that has been a passion. As David and May mentioned, I've been involved with the predecessor community of SATYAM since it started in 2011. It's been one of the most powerful communities that I've found myself in, and it it has been really encouraging and inspiring to see Satyam form and take on this next chapter of this kind of work with a deep commitment to nonviolence and to togetherness at times where being apart is the norm. my story starts on my birthday, 2 years ago. I was doing a catch-up honeymoon with my partner. We hadn't really had one, and we decided to spend a week in Paris. My partner is Palestinian American, and we rented a small loft. My mom gave us a nice itinerary. She knows Paris very well, having grown up in Lebanon with a lot of French connection. And we went out the day before my birthday onto the Seine, and there was a boat with a dance party, and it was a fusion Arab, French, Euro kind of party with an incredible set of musicians, and we danced our hearts out well into the next day, into the morning. And that morning was October 7th, my birthday. We spent the remaining 5 days we had out of the week scrambling to call the family that Rwan has in the West Bank, the friends we had in Gaza, the family that I have in Israel, checking in to see if people were safe, seeing how we were going to get Rwan's mother out of the West Bank at the time she was there, and spending a lot of time crying and talking and being together. Now, Rwan is very special in many ways, and one of the things that brought her to the US was a program that takes Israeli and Palestinian young adults to the capital of the US to advocate with their voices using a narrative approach. And they spend time in congressional offices, they speak to congressional leaders, as well as community and community fora. And she had been a participant of this group called New Story Leadership. Later on, she became the executive director of the organization. And by the time my birthday rolled around, she was on the board. In fact, it was a mutual friend of ours who's connected both to EcoMe and to New Story Leadership, Goni, who introduced us first, right before COVID happens. So it's an interesting connection of worlds. And one of the things in the first month after October 7th, 2023, that happened was that there were a handful of folks in the alumni network of several hundred Israelis and Palestinians who, instead of shutting off and going into their own corners, began to talk with each other over WhatsApp in the groups and check in. How are you doing? What is going on? Are you safe? How is your family? And then the next part of the conversation was, what do we do? And a core group of them emerged with this inspiration that only such a radical reshaping of our reality, in this sense, tragically so, might be able to open the door to a radically new imagined future. And so very quickly, and Rwan was very much at the head of this, very quickly an idea to create a blueprint for the future that doesn't replay the many cycles of peace negotiations that we've had, but rather that looks at the systemic barriers to those peace negotiations took form. And it eventually led to 10 Israelis, Palestinians that include Palestinian citizens of Israel and Gazans, under the funding of Beit for Hope in Geneva, coming together and creating the foundations of what became the Phoenix framework. I had the incredible honor and privilege to facilitate the process between these young adults. I want to read to you a little bit of the Who We Are section of the Phoenix Framework. We are alumni of the New Story Leadership, a training and advocacy program for 20 to 35-year-old Palestinian and Israeli women and men. We are Jewish, Muslim, Christian backgrounds and various degrees of faith from Gaza, Israel, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Palestinian and Jewish diasporas. We are the children and siblings of people who have been directly impacted by the death and destruction in the most recent round of violence, unprecedented even in the painful history that preceded it. We are science teachers, project managers, social media content creators, artists, dialogue facilitators, journalists, business people, government affairs officers, tech professionals, former special forces combat soldiers, volunteer ambulance drivers, civil engineers, and youth workers. We recognize that we have a shared destiny. We cannot tolerate the status quo. Seeking the opportunity within our present crisis, we offer the following framework as a set of innovative solutions that can lead to a new post-war future for ourselves, our people, and our future generations. So what emerged over an in-person meeting and months of online meetings was a document that is a living document now in its third edition. I've put the link where you can access both the document, the summary, and even a GPT that uses AI to be able to. Oh, and Gregory's got the phoenix flying. Thank you for that drawing. There it is. I'll take this as a moment to say that the phoenix, there's a statue of the phoenix in Gaza City that was in part the inspiration, but of course the symbolism of the mythology of a phoenix that rises from the ashes was a powerful one that seemed to echo very deeply what we were trying to do and imagine. So the document you'll find now in its third version has 6 different what we call areas of opportunity. These are not your final status negotiating items. This is not about refugees, right of return, borders, Jerusalem, the typical final status issues that have been on the table since Oslo, Madrid, Oslo since in the early 1990s, and have been played over and over again. In fact, our document very much says we don't want to replace the work that's already done. And it cites preceding work, agreements, the Geneva Accords, and other initiatives as a reference to the document. It doesn't try to replace them, but add to them by looking at what's been missing in 30 years of peace negotiations. And an analogy that we've used that we kind of like, and it kind of seems to hit home is, imagine now in 2025, using an operating system from the 1990s, using whatever DOS of Microsoft DOS that was available in the 1990s. And that's essentially what we've been doing with these numerous iterations of peace negotiations at the high levels. It's been very much the same people talking about the same issues with the same framing, not looking at the new generation, new technologies, new realities like climate change, new realities in the geography of the country, new appreciations of how peace is made in 25 years of looking at the world around us, seeing peace in places like Colombia, right? Seeing peace in places like Northern Ireland. These aren't lessons that have been incorporated in these many iterations of peace negotiations, and that's what we wanted to illuminate. So what we have now is a document that looks at 6 areas of opportunity. The first one is a recovering of Gaza, but in a way that integrates it deeply into a larger political arrangement in a similar way that Germany and the Axis powers were integrated into a European economy and a European community. in a way that makes Gaza unbombable, because Gaza is part of an economic structure. It has a transitional justice as a pillar, as an area of opportunity, recognizing that in order to move forward out of this incredible suffering and pain, there needs to be healing and accountability that both applies within Israeli and Palestinian communities and between them. You'll find there themes that deal with governance. Ultimately, governance is the vehicle by which folks can have a legitimate negotiating representative, that a responsive governance allows for decisions about the future structure of the Middle East to take place, let alone that governance allows for taking care of the people within each community. We have the international community, which has been waved around for decades, but really has meant the major world powers, and particularly the US. And in our section on the international community, we talk about the role that not just a wide range of countries can have, but also regional and international and global institutions, religious communities, universities, transnational organizations, the ways that there are a multiplicity of parties who can all support the building of a sustained peace. We have trauma-informed recovery, which is one of the newest parts of our plan, and recognizes the importance of addressing trauma if we're ever to move forward. And lastly, we are preparing the public for peace, recognizing that any peace negotiation at high levels, even if we were to have the inspiring and courageous leadership to bring forward a political resolution, in a day when there's such extreme polarization, there needs to be a public that's ready to move forward, accept, understand, embrace, learn, and change as well. And that doesn't happen magically by itself. One of the things we looked at in Northern Ireland was the way that about $1.50 per person was spent on people-to-people programming in a place where there was deep, very historically anchored resentment between Catholics and Protestants. And in Israel-Palestine, while many people-to-people programs are visible and people know about them, the amount of per person spending is less than 10 cents. Just to give you a sense of how much or how little of a priority that has taken in the bigger picture. So those are our 6 areas of opportunity in the framework. I'll say briefly where we've come since the framework has taken shape. We've had 2 delegations of Israeli and Palestinian drafters come to Washington, D.C. They've met with about 24 congressional offices, the ones that are influential in foreign policy circles and committees. That also met with about a dozen different embassies, diplomatic staff, State Department, think tanks. The Alliance for Peacebuilding, the largest peacebuilding association, endorsed the Phoenix framework. The Middle East Institute and the U.S. Institute of Peace featured it as one of the most comprehensive binationally generated agreements or templates out there. We've met with European Union members, representatives, German, French, Belgian, and Swiss members of government, with some agencies in the UN, including the Red Cross and Crescent. And we've started some conversations within Israel and Palestine itself. Mind you, our thinking from the beginning was during active war, there isn't going to be much of bandwidth to think about a future that's so radically different. And so we haven't made that a priority. We've been wanting to see a permanent ceasefire before we go public with both Hebrew and Arabic language Phoenix documents in the region itself. Looking forward, we've been so troubled, disappointed, despaired about how long it has taken, continues to take to come to a permanent ceasefire. So some of our more recent thoughts as some of the, let's say, initial excitement at what we were doing has worn thin, has worn down, and has been beset by hopelessness and despair. We've picked up on a couple of things. One is social media. So Rowan keeps getting tens or hundreds of thousands of hits on on our social media platforms around the Phoenix. So the idea, the power that social media has to bring visibility to the Phoenix framework. The other one is digital tools. So there is a whole, in the last 5 years, I would say, emergence of peace tech that has particularly been focused on peace building itself. Tools that allow you to have kind of like a deliberation, a semi-dialogue with thousands of people at once, instead of just 10 people who might be sitting in a room together. Tools that allow you to replicate, simulate a whole society, and then see what would happen if a peace agreement were signed. How would that change the economics and the politics of that place? So these are sort of digital twins technology that AI has allowed for this to take place. Tools that allow you to take complex multivariable negotiations and optimize for solutions that human negotiators would not have thought about. Tools that can scrape the internet and find where there's common ground that you otherwise wouldn't hear of because of the way the algorithms polarize. So there's incredible, and these are just the surface of these kinds of tools, these kinds of this sort of peace tech movement that's happening. And so one of the directions we're wanting to lead the Phoenix in is to apply some of these tools to both creating a more robust content of the Phoenix, but also creating more visibility for the Phoenix. That's one of the things we're excited about, and we've got already some budding partnerships with a number of these peace tech startups that are there in place. So, yeah, I think I'll slow down there. What I'd like to do is give you all a chance in somewhat of a interactive way to take a look at the Phoenix plan. And here's how I propose we do it. I'd like to make a breakout groups of 3. But before you actually meet in your breakout groups, I want you to take 2 minutes to go through the document and to find something that catches your attention. So I'm going to share the screen real quick, so make sure we're all looking at the same thing. So do you all see this is the Phoenix framework. If you go to explore the Phoenix, you'll come to a page like this. If you go to download the full framework, that's where you'll find this document. There's a hyperlinked table of contents. So one way to do this is for you to go through, there's the 6 areas of opportunity, and just see if there's one kind of subsection that calls your attention. Maybe it's addressing the issue of illegal settlements in the context of Palestinian state building. Maybe it's dealing with intergovernmental organizations and their role. Maybe it's protecting journalism or using addressing power structures in civil society. Maybe it's a justice system, a path to accountability and repair under the trauma-informed healing and recovery. So I'm going to leave it up to you and let your interests guide you. And you can just click on as many of these different sections that you will for about 2 minutes, I would say. Maybe even let's do 3 minutes, and then we'll bring it, and then we'll have you go into breakout groups and just have a chance to discuss in your breakout groups. What did you find? Was there anything that was particularly inspiring? Was there questions or doubts that came up for you? And then we'll bring it back into the whole group and have a little bit of a discussion there. Evelyn.
Hi, Tarek. Thank you so much for all that you are doing, bringing Israelis and Palestinians together and giving us some hope for the future. And really, what I wanted to hear about is, when do you think it might be possible to start the communication between Israelis and Palestinians? And what kind of communication are you guys envisioning? Just really curious about that.
Great. Let me tell you about some of when we're talking about connecting Israelis and Palestinians. We have it at various different levels within the framework itself. So under the governance section, we envision the use of a national dialogues process that involves town halls within Palestinian and within Israeli society, as a way of looking at the building of an Israeli constitution as well as a Palestinian one. And on the Palestinian one, there's a lot more institution building that needs to take place. And it's one that would look at both the democratic processes involved, as well as the fundamental values of the state. So we have that kind of state building related recommendations, which involve having lots of political dialogue. Some of it is people in person within Israeli and Palestinian societies. Some of it is using digital technologies that can have 10,000 people talking at the same time, through a platform. When it comes to Israelis and Palestinians talking with each other, certainly that will take place in whatever negotiated process there is. But in the transitional justice section, right, we talk about both having a transitional justice process, mechanisms within Palestinian society and within Israeli society. So that's something important as a prior step. And if you're not familiar with transitional justice, it's fundamentally the idea of how do you move from a society that's experienced mass levels of harm to a society that can integrate those who've done harm, treat those who have been the victim of harm in ways that they're have paths towards healing and acknowledgement, and then build up the structures so that harm don't happen again. And so it involves principles and practices of restorative justice, but oftentimes there are also criminal approaches in transitional justice. And we basically in our document have tracked the 20 or so different transitional justice mechanisms that have been used. We show where they've been used, give examples. And essentially what we imagine is that both Israeli and Palestinian steering committees will design their own transitional justice process internally, and then will come together and design a transitional process between them. And that will be some of the most deep and hopefully meaningful dialogue that happens between Israelis and Palestinians when they're directly talking about the harms that they've experienced from each other, from parts of each other's community. And then there's preparing the public for peace, and there's loads of different people-to-people program ideas. Some of them have been happening, and really it's a matter of scaling them up, to the levels that we saw in Northern Ireland, for example, and so forth. So, hopefully that gives you some response to your question. And
Thank
I
you.
wonder, yeah. Okay. So, I'm looking at the chat here, just catching up. Okay, so some folks can't do breakout groups. maybe what we can do is we can don't do a breakout, but we just come back together, and anyone who wants to share. I'd actually like that, because then I get to hear what sort of people attracted people's attention. Yep. Okay, Kaisa, that's what you recommended. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
we're
let's do that
not
then.
such a big group, so
Yeah.
Cool.
So maybe what we can do is call for David, is it also normal to have a break at
we
some point?
can create what we want to create. If
Yeah.
you
So
want to invite a break and maybe some time to look at the documents, and then we can come back together.
yeah. So I would say let's take then you can combine yourself a break with a review of the document, looking through it as much as you'd like, and be back in at 10 past. Anyhow, so let's hear if anyone wants to share about anything that you found in the document that you thought you'd like to lift up, talk about, ask questions about. I'd love to hear kind of what struck you, um, and then and then I have a few ideas for ways that you could support the Phoenix if it is something that you find valuable. So we can do that at the end.
Yeah, hi, Tarek, and thank you.
Hi, Marcia.
Hi, hi. Wonderful and good and moving to meet you.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, it's kind of overwhelming to me. At the same time, it's like incredibly inspiring the work that you're doing and have done. And as I was reading through it, not to be overwhelmed, I just responded to things that stood out to me. And so I have a list. And what stood out to me was address issues of illegal settlements in context of Palestinian state building, international non-government orgs, inclusive people-to-people programs, confronting toxic polarization, merit-based grant awards, addressing PTSD. That's what came to me, reached out to me.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And those are like the headings, for a paragraph or more on the specific ideas. Um,
Okay.
so for example, confronting toxic polarization, which is an issue that's affecting the world globally. Um, we talk about we reference a whole council on technology and social cohesion, and they have a 10-part framework, like a roadmap for how to address toxic polarization.
Mm.
So it's a great example of how we've tried not to reinvent the wheel. We've tried not to overtake the work that others have already done, but rather build on it, reference it, and pull it into the work here. So if you go to that idea of confronting toxic polarization, you'll see that there's more resources to dig into around things that have been done to do that, and we want to name those and bring that into the work that would be important or essential even to um, preparing the public for peace.
It's
Thanks,
an
Marcia.
astounding it's an astounding document, and I look forward to digging into it more deeply, and I'm just so grateful
Mm,
for you.
mm. Oh, that's touching. Thank you, Marcia.
Yeah,
Malka, is that? I see a
um,
hand raised.
Moon actually here, but yes, thank you. I just a quick thing going into localization of democracy, and just participatory democracy and circles around that, in Palestine or for Palestinians, and then the international community as a midwife not an architect. I really love that language, also as a midwife. And I also really just brought up for me, like, how did this even happen? How did like a group of people come together and agree on a document? And
Mm.
so that's a whole nother question, but it's like, um, it comes out of like trying to make a 3-paragraph new statement in my synagogue about Israel and Palestine. And they've been working on it for 3 years. I've only been involved for about a year now, but it's just like to agree on a 3-paragraph statement. So it's just kind of remarkable that
Mm.
this is where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, excited to see that you gravitated towards some of those sections. I think for me, some of those like social technologies, participatory democracy, are very exciting. And I'll link that to this notion we have of first step, two states. So a lot of folks ask us, are you a two-state solution, a one-state solution, a confederacy, or whatever? Actually, we're none of the above. We basically say what you need to make a political decision is to have responsive governance over what's currently recognized as different political entities. So building up that governance, which is going to take some time, and which includes a Palestinian political entity that can legitimately represent the Palestinian people, and then deciding, which is probably a few years off, and hopefully a few years with very little violence, at which point the imagination will be much more open to different possibilities that conform with the realities and the economics and the geographies of the region. So that's sort of how we answer that question. And I'll say, as a matter of process, we recognized we're not subject matter experts in any of these, uh, kind of public policy areas. So we started by educating ourselves and hosting weekly calls, bringing in a subject matter expert to talk about things like participatory democracy or trauma. Um, in this case, I do have some expertise in transitional and restorative justice, so I was the kind of advisor on that area. And we did that online, leading up to our in-person 10 days in Geneva. In Geneva, what we did was we'd have very open-ended conversations around one of the themes every day, right? And some of those went in various different directions, and we captured all of those in different kind of form in notes. And we actually used um, like an AI program to help us organize our notes, revisit it the next day, and find where we could agree around the organized structure. So we use technology. And listen, I'm the first one to criticize AI and various forms of technology, certainly social media. But we used it. We used it, and it enabled us to take what you see here, hundreds of different ideas at different levels, right? There's the principles level, there's the sort of outcomes level, and then there's the approaches or solutions level, and to organize them in incredibly quick time. And it did, as someone who has facilitated 10 years of Seeds of Peace dialogue between community leaders and educators for 3 weeks a year, I was blown away by how much consensus and how quickly we were able to move through the document. And I would say, I think partly as we were all just inspired to rise above, what we were seeing happening in our home communities. Mark.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, it's a very impressive document, as much as I could see from the 9 minutes I had to look at it. I'm I'm not. It's important for me to emphasize that I'm not trying to put this whole thing down as dreaming. But I think we, in the end, it could be an excellent, and I can't say at the moment, I have to actually read it. It's an excellent platform for finding a way out of the situation that we're in now and into some sort of humane, general world, for at least in the Middle East, and to make life better for everybody. But we're starting from where we are. We're not starting from where we would like to be. And I don't think that, and I don't think this is something that can be done top down. It has to have a real base within the population, because at the moment, I can speak for Israel more than for Palestine, although I am involved with organizations. I do know some of what's going on there, and especially what was happening in Gaza in the last 20 years. There is the politicians are not in line with any of this, and the people are very they're very. I mean, there was no possible way at the moment that you could convince any kind of even small majority in Israel today to sit down with the Palestinians to talk about what's written here. It wouldn't happen. And I would imagine, especially the people in Gaza, but also the West Bank, because the West Bank is basically like Gaza now, that the Palestinians would feel mostly the same way about the Israelis. But also within the society itself, it's completely broken up into different factions. And to make things worse, in order to make this happen, the two populations have to be able to speak to one another, and there's a vast language difficulty here with because mostly Israelis do not know Arabic, and I think that aside from the Arabs living in Israel and somewhat in the West Bank and Gaza, most Arabs probably don't know anything about Hebrew. English is it's a possibility, but it's not a spoken language for most of those people. And so what I was drawn to are two things. One is preparing the public for peace, because I think that's something that has to be done first of all. I don't. There's not even a shared definition of democracy between, not even within the state of Israel, probably not within the Palestinian society either, but certainly not between us. And without having a basic language that we can all, I mean, I don't know who, I read slightly who you are, but you worked together to come up with a common language in terms, okay, not Hebrew, English, or whatever language. You came up with your language of how you're going to present this whole thing. We have to have a common language. When we talk about democracy, we have to be talking about the same thing. If we're not talking about the same thing, we can talk forever and even agree on something. In the end, when it's put in place, everybody's going to say that's not what we wanted. So preparing the public for peace, I don't know exactly what's here, but I think it's much more than maybe what's here, because it's not just stop fighting, let's do things peacefully. And the other thing is the first chapter about rebuilding Gaza, because there is no way, I can't see any way that we can possibly go forward with anything until the disaster in Gaza is undone to the point where people can live a fairly normal life and have some hope for the future. Because if I was a Palestinian anywhere, if I was an Arab anywhere, I wouldn't trust the Israeli government or the Israelis or on anything. And we have to be stopped. The state of Israel has to be stopped now, and this has to be undone to a level that people can begin to actually relate to one another. And so those are the two things that I mean, all the other stuff, it's all of it has to be done. Okay. But you have to start somewhere. You can't do it all in parallel. It won't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll say a few words in response to that, and then Gregory has written some stuff, and Andrea, you have your hand raised. I want to say that the document reads like a script for many actors. It's not meant to be a set of recommendations for one particular audience, one particular government. It's meant to be something that that speaks to everyone in the society as they are. And so, of course, that's not, we're under no impression that everyone's just going to go and march together in synchronicity here around everything that's there. What we're hoping to do is, one, we're hoping to inspire people who have lost hope at a peace process, that the peace process we've seen so far have not addressed some of the fundamental issues that need to be addressed in order to move things forward. So we're hoping to sort of get out of the rut of discouragement that has come after 25, 30 years of failed peace processes. Two, we're trying to show people that we're in a different context, and that there are now new ideas and technologies out there that can do things that we didn't have 30 years ago. And three, we're trying to offer specific solutions for specific aspects of the issue. And hopefully there'll be some people who will take those solutions and run with it. But more than anything, we're just hoping that this informs the public conversation to think like, you know what, maybe it's not time to give up on negotiated peace, on people-to-people programs, on public dialogue. I wanted to say, Gregory, thank you. I couldn't fully make out the second drawing. And somehow I'm not able to access it. So I want to see it. Send me a closer up picture if you can. And what Gregory was referring to is one section of reconstruction that has to do with, there we go. All right. That has to do with an alternative building material to Portland cement, which can allow you to recycle rubble. And so one of the dreams, as someone who works in alternative construction materials, what we call green building tech, is to take all of this rubble, I mean, the millions of tons of rubble that we have, and actually use it to rebuild. And the alternative material itself, its chemistry, turns out to be stronger, more resilient, more durable than the Portland cement we have. So hopefully it'll also mean more dignified, longer lasting housing for Gazans into the future. And my bigger dream would be, what if Gazans became the Middle East, if not the global, experts at this kind of technology. They're going to have so much to rebuild, so much experience they will gain, just as they will tragically with prosthetics, with trauma healing. Are those at the same time opportunities for them to grow into a sort of an economic space of leadership? Andrea.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm kind of new. This is my first Zoom with SATYAM, but I have followed you for a while. And I'm very, very grateful to hear about this. And it gives such much hope, not for just the Israel-Palestine issue, but as you say, it's a global kind of disease that we all meet wherever we are in different levels. So I just want to say it brings so much hope to just see someone working through this document in this way. Like, yeah, I'm like, wow. And what pops out to me is this trauma-informed work. It feels that it's most close to my what I am into, kind of. And I also need to leave in short, but what came to my mind is I just wanted to tell about a Palestinian choreographer and dancer that I know, and he has been visited Stockholm before, where I live, on just the days after October 7th, and he hold a workshop that he's calling Dancing the Political, about when I saw this confronting toxic polarization, that popped out to me, because this is what he really is doing in a very concrete way with dancing. So the practice is to dance your own community, whatever that is, for him, the Palestinian community, and then you dance your enemy. Or so he is dancing an Israeli soldier, and then he is mixing those dances into one dance in his body. So he's first dancing one side and then the other side, and then he is mixing it. And then he is like leading workshops with this internationally, and guiding people with their polarization that goes through their bodies. And yeah, it's a very, very beautiful work. So I just wanted to tell about it, and I will send a link to his Instagram in the chat if you want to check it out some more, because I really think that arts have a big role here to play, possibly. And he's a beautiful person, so I just wanted to give him like a notice here. So I will send it in the chat. And I need to leave, but I'm very grateful.
I know Said, he's part of the community here. It's amazing to hear someone also acknowledging his work. Thank you. Dear.
So I hope he will come to Sweden, where I live, and we will host him having a workshop here where I live. So yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I will leave now, but
Thank you for
I
joining. Welcome. Thank you for joining with us. Good to
thank
see
you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
you. Bye, dear.
Evelyn, maybe last question.
I just wanted to say that there were two things were of particular interest to me. Like Mark was saying, confronting toxic polarization, which I think is just so, so, so important in today's society, that we can start doing it as soon as possible. I think I mean, I live in the United States. We can do the same thing here. And the second one I wanted to say, I'm not familiar with transitional justice. So if I'm assuming that it means addressing the injustices that have happened since the establishment of the State of Israel, then I think that's incredibly important. Again, I think both are process-oriented, and I think the processes are so important to do when all this building takes place. So thank you again.
So thank you everyone for your time and attention. I would say if you found value in the document, there are a number of things you can do to support us. One is certainly to pass the document on to anyone else in your networks who takes an interest in this. Particularly if you know of folks who have influence, who might be able to see some of these ideas and make them happen. You can pass them the document, and you can put them in touch with us. We do speaking events where the Palestinian and Israeli drafters will also tell some of their stories. Sometimes we've done speaking events where we use one of these deliberative technologies when there's a large audience and we want to gauge everyone and everyone to have input on the conversation. 60, 100 or so people, we can set up a 20-minute digital deliberation. So we've done those in schools and in houses of worship, think tanks, conferences, and so forth. So if you have any ideas of places to present the framework, let us know. And of course, if you have any ideas for to incorporate into the framework as well, you can let me know as well. This is, you'll see, is version 3. We are constantly every few months revising, incorporating more ideas, references, case studies, and things as we go along. Yeah, so that's certainly always funding can be helpful for our efforts, especially on multiplying or publicizing this work. So any ideas around potential funding is welcome as well. Thanks so much. I'm going to hand it back to David and May for any kind of closing you might have in mind. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah. Wow. I feel this is such an important piece that you have brought, because as we are longing and meeting in the longing for another world, there's so many pieces to it. There's the piece to attend, to stand, to speak for injustice happening, and to put our hearts and bodies and minds, and that can look so in so many ways. So as we stand and demonstrate or do advocacy work, and in the same time, there's this question, what's the alternative? How do we get out of this? How is the way that can lead us possibly to that future we long for? So you working on that actually prepares the ground for because that's the real future. How are we taking it from here? Because things have happened. We cannot undo them. And we must meet them as they are, and we must put our hearts and souls behind the stopping of the injustice. But what comes next, right? So there's the stop, and then there's the path that needs to lead to another reality, not again another cycle of what we've already witnessed. So you working on that roadmap is just such an important and essential piece. And while things are still happening, to preparing the ground that can lead towards really truly a change, a transformation of the situation. And we need orientation in that. So I'm just so grateful for you all putting your time and effort into preparing a ground that can lead us forward into another reality that we can align behind. And I really wish that you get all the support, and that also from our community. I will post this this Zoom, and I will also share the framework and share people to engage with it. So I'm just infinitely grateful for you to bring it to our community, also people that will watch it later. Yeah, just thank you for your time and also coming here and presenting it to our community. Thank you so much, Tarek, and so inspired again, the vision you hold, the bigger picture you hold always, that I always knew that you're like engaging with bigger picture questions that are so relevant. Yeah, thank you so much for your work and your vision, and such an inspiration. Yeah.
Thank you for seeing me, and also, of course, all the members that in our team who've contributed to this, who are not here today, but who have worked to make this happen.
Yeah. And it takes so many. I can see that 20 people, and it's also an inspiration for me. I had this, just sharing a maybe short note. I had this professor in university, and he was, I forgot his name now, but he has been doing it for, I think, 20 years, bringing people, Palestinians and Israelis, in the street together, like 5, 10, 30, 50, sitting them on a table and saying, you sit as long until you come to an agreement on all the main issues. And 90% of the times they reached. So it's like what he showed the world is like, if we have the intention, the actual intention to incorporate everyone's needs, we will succeed. If that's our intention, we will succeed. Even within one day, a group of 50 people can come to agreement on the main parts that can move us forward. So I think this is the spirit we need. We need sincere people with sincere intentions to lead the way and show how it's possible. This is possible. So yeah, I hope you get all the support, and I hope we can support. And just big love to all your team, all you're doing, and it's amazing to remember you um and your partner Rawan in Ecomi many years ago. I think yeah, it just beautiful how the threads keep weaving. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious if you want to add anything, May, and I would love to invite for closing someone again, as is our practice, from you, from the community, maybe a song, maybe something that lends us for today. You have anything to add before May?
I feel deeply grateful again, Tarek, and to this time, to everything that you brought. The again reminders of how can things actually be done using the knowledge that we have and the experience into building, to imagining, even bringing all these materials into the bigger picture. Such healing. And just for us as a community to again continue to come together, continue to be in this togetherness, to really hold the faith in our actions and everything that we do. All these informations are gifts to us to carry on with us and to speak it around, to share it also around, to bring it also to others, to say we were in the Zoom and this is what came up, and to really start spreading this information, this knowledge, these spaces, what is truly also available to us, to say, hey, no, we have it. We have it. We have it. We have what it takes to actually build true, just freedom by meeting the needs and sitting exactly at this dialogue that reminds us to again honor each other and to rebuild from acknowledgement and from the grief and from the trauma and from the NPC and all that's been given to us all through these years, to see the power actually of it again, to see the power that we hold and the wisdom that we truly need for a real deep change, for a global liberation, not only Israel, Palestine, but a true global liberation, which is actually the call. It's and I'm deeply grateful, Tarek, and to you and all these many years of your building again and again and again, and rebuilding and recreating also materials in order to bring that clarity to everyone, to help support everyone see the possibilities that we have, even all the way to the political level of a change. So that's what community is like. Deeply grateful. Maya.
Yes, I
Yes.
have a song.
Yeah, and just before the song, I want to remind you again, come Thursday if you wish, and if you can't, follow up. We're starting the campaign Mondays for Gaza, and we wish to make it really, really, really widespread, to engage people, to support, to engage in a one-day hunger strike a week. And that day we come together and we hold Zooms and we bring this kind of outlooks. Like, first of all, we bring the reality, but we also look to unite behind the possibility to imagine another reality together. So yeah, just really inviting you to participate in it. Let's make it really big and bring people in, and let everyone know that we have a lot of power and we can do a lot of change, and it needs all of us. We can't wait for anyone else. It's us. So
Yes, yeah. Please invite people to join, to come, to participate. Community, family, friends, like just spread the word. Let's really carry it as big as we can, as big as it's possible and beyond for us, that we create this movement from a community up all the way to a political change.
So Thursday we'll introduce ways that we think you can
Yes.
partake. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you so much. Blessings to all of you. Honor to all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you on Thursday. And I think the links to us is there, David.
Yeah, I posted them. If you want to join our groups, and you can
Yeah,
find them.
the group, the follow up to, yeah.
And the last link that's in there, it's the song, it's a spreadsheet of the song. It's in English, Arabic, and Hebrew.
Yeah,
And I'd like to sing it.
Yes.
yeah, please do.
Okay. I am within you, perfect peace. I am within you, being still. Worry cease. I am within you, perfect peace. The cloak of peace surrounds you now. You know what, you know when, you know who, you know how. The cloak of peace is around you now. Know it in your heart. Know just where to start. The peace is within you now. My peace is within you now. In the very midst of you. You know what to say, you know what to do, you know who to be, you know what to be, you know what is true. My peace is within you now. My peace is within you now. Peace is within you now.
Wow, thank you. Such a way to close. Thank you. That felt like a hug to the soul. Thank you, dear. Thank you all. Mm.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. See you on Thursday. Thank you, dears. And we are here if you need anything before Thursday. A community is a community 24/7.
Thank you.
Thank you. Habibi. Thank you, love. Thank you all. Thank you, Tarek, Habibi, again. All of you guys, thank you for holding. All of you, loves. Thank you.
Please, Phyllis.
Yes. Laura, Gregory, the ones that drew and wrote backwards. Beautiful to receive you. Beautiful to have you amongst us. May you say it was history and I was part of it. You say, my mom was watching them when they sold the whole thing and it became free. Amen. 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 Thank you all. Rima, Habibti, I hope you rested and you had a good time listening. Thank you. See you all. Thank you, David, Habibi, Evelyn, Habibi, Laura again. Thank you for joining. My dear Rima, thank you, dear. See you all on Thursday. And Tarek, greetings to Rawan and the whole family, Habibi. Hugs to all of you. We miss you all.
I hope to see you.
Yes, we will. Yes.
Hope you
Wait.
come back soon.
Yes. It's about time that you come back. You have to do the walk of return again. My dear, see you all soon. Evelyn, all of you, Marsha, Tarek, David, Gregory, and whoever is there. I hope I'm saying the name right. But yeah.
Well,
Bye. Bye.
touch.
Yes, we be in touch. Yes, loves. See you soon. Bye,
Tarek,
love. Bye.
Tarek,
Bye.